All right, let me go to Facebook and get this going on here. I should probably do Facebook and then hit the record button, but oh well. You don't have to be perfect, right? Stress and detox. Okay, go live. All right, we are on live Facebook now. Happy Wellness Wednesday, everybody. I'm Angel Fogg, the Fitness Angel, and I'm so excited. I have a special guest today, and I have two nutritionists on here with me today, so this is exciting. But the subject is very serious on stress. We have been talking a lot about having healthy hormones. A lot of us are going through menopause or have already gone through menopause and want to help others. So that's what this is all about. And the topic, reducing stress, is very, very important as you're getting to that age. Your hormones are changing. But today I am excited because, Barbara, you mentioned the word endocrine disruptors. I hope I said that right. And I wanted you to talk about that because that is something very important that we all need to know more about. So, Barbara, I'll tell everyone how we met. That's my dog, Jack, saying hello. We met on YouTube, and then it led to Facebook and conversations. We both have a passion for fitness and nutrition. And that is how we started. Even though Barb is in Kentucky and I'm in Tennessee and Lydia's in Detroit, so we've all met through our love and passion for health and nutrition and helping others. So I'm going to let Barb take it away and go ahead. And I know you have a slideshow, so y'all stay in tune. And if you're on Facebook, feel free to put in the comments if you have a question. And if you would like the recording, I am recording this to my YouTube channel, so I'll be happy to share that too. Unmute.
Oh, this crazy computer. Okay, so when I pull it up, I don't see anybody. So I guess it doesn't matter. You can still see me, right? When I put the slideshow up? Okay, well, I can't see you guys, but I'll do it anyway. And I'll talk to the screen. Okay, so, I think most everyone understands most stresses, being very busy, too much to do, too much on our mind, monkey mind. We're just trying to do too many things at one time.
Barb, I don't see the slideshow.
Well, oh, you know what? I see it. I didn't share. Remember you had me stop share?
Mm-hmm.
So let me share it. Now it's going to work. Okay, can you unrecord and start again? Now, does it show? Do you see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, hit that play button so it'll be large screen.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. Yeah, it's a good thing we don't have to be perfect. So, should I back up or just continue on? Did you hear everything else I said?
Just continue. This is great.
Okay, so since most people understand that, and there's a lot that could be talked about those stressors and how to overcome them, but today we're going to talk about endocrine disruptors. And what they come from chemicals, and they actually alter or mimic the hormones in our body, and they can even latch on to hormone receptors in our body. So it's real important for people to know what they are and how to avoid them. And we are exposed to them from the time we get up in the morning till the time we go to bed at night. We are exposed to these endocrine disruptors, and a lot of it we do to ourselves, and that's what I kind of want to talk about. There are things, some that we can avoid, but there's a lot of things we can't avoid, and that's what I want to teach you. Matter of fact, a huge percentage of avoiding these is just changing lifestyle. So let me go, if I can figure out how, to the next slide. Okay, so this is just a little picture showing all the different glands, all the things that all the hormonal areas in our body, and knowing that these hormones, even in the tiniest of doses, can interrupt and alter our hormonal balance in our body. And just a few things on here, you know, they can reduce fertility, they can lead to early puberty in children, and we see that today's kids seem to develop so much faster than they have for, you know, quite a few years, and can increase cancers in breast and ovaries and prostate, and even, you know, they can affect the brain. There's so many things, and so we'll just go into a little bit more of that. But I really hate that I can't see everybody. But anyway, so let's talk about where they come from. So I said from the time you get up in the morning till you go to bed, but we're going to find endocrine disruptors in, you know, when you jump in the shower, in your body wash, in your shampoo, in your conditioner. We're going to find it in our makeups, antiperspirants, deodorants, cleaning products, water bottles, plastics that you might put food in. All of these things contain endocrine disruptors. And so we just have to learn what they are and how to avoid them. Okay, so one thing that is found in personal care products are phthalates. And so if you ever see the word fragrance or perfume in, you know, every shampoo bottle, every conditioner bottle, we see fragrance and perfume. That is a industry secret. They can use the word fragrance and put it on a bottle and put tons of chemicals in there under that one name, and you have no idea what they are. But you can assume that they're going to be phthalates, that phthalates will be a part of it. And phthalates are linked to birth defects, breast cancer, diabetes, obesity, autism, ADHD. And you will find, if you look for natural things, you'll see more and more that, you know, companies are catching on, and you'll see phthalate free or free of phthalates. But that's one thing that you really need to look for. So if you see the word fragrance, unless it's a natural fragrance, you want to be leery, because it's in the EU, they ban about 13,000 or 1,300 chemicals. Can someone guess how many chemicals? Hey, Jeannie. Can somebody guess how many chemicals they ban in the U.S. of things that can be put into our products? 1,300 in the EU. Anybody want to take a guess? Come on, play the game. Is it in the chat? Angel, can you see the chat?
I took a guess and it's 0.
Okay, for some reason when I have this up, I can't open any of that. Put 0. Okay, well, you're not far off. In the U.S., we only ban 11. Okay, so think about that. In the EU, it's 1,300, and maybe even more now. But we ban 11. So they allow a lot. Even over there, even like their food supply, everything's a lot cleaner than it is here. They allow a lot more in the United States to be consumed and used than they do over there. So if they're banning 1,300, you can just imagine of all the things extra that are causing us issues over here. So, but you know, your cleaning products in your home, what you use to clean your home with, shampoo, carpet shampoos, dish detergent, I mean, you name it, there's going to be some chemicals in there, and they can cause lots and lots of issues. Let me look for a couple more that might be, okay, another big one in like shampoos is sodium lauryl sulfate, SLS, and bubble baths, things like that. According to the EWG, they may be contaminated with carcinogenic nitrosamines, and they can penetrate the eyes as well as the brain, heart, liver, and show long-term retention in your tissues. So if you can, you need to look for SLS, which is sodium lauryl sulfates, in your products. It's often in shampoos, anything that creates suds. That's what they do. It creates lots of suds. So that's why if you buy like a natural shampoo, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to make all that suds like a normal one, because they don't use the SLS. So that's another important thing. So I'm looking for other things. Nanoparticles. So these are things that have been like pulverized real small, and then they can, if they're using nanoparticles in anything and you put it on your skin, it can cross the blood-brain barrier. So you want to always look for non-nano. So I'm talking about things like in sunscreen. You want to make sure it says non-nano for sunscreen. That's a big one. Also, while I'm on sunscreen, let me find it. I always avoid these. Oh, oxybenzone and octinoxate. Okay, so those are two. You'll see them on almost everything. But they're easily absorbed and they can lead to skin irritation, adverse reactions, and can generate cell-damaging free radicals when exposed to the sun, which is so ironic, right? Because we put on sunscreen when we go in the sun, but if you use those two sunscreens, it's actually going to cause free radicals to be even more. So what I like to use are titanium dioxide and or zinc oxide in sunscreens. Those are safer, but make sure it says non-nano. That's the other key. It needs to be non-nano so it doesn't pass through that blood-brain barrier. So we'll move on. Of course, drinking water, we know that, water goes somewhere, it gets clean, and then gets recycled back through. But they have found that just like with antibiotics and medications will often show up in your drinking water, they make it through the cleaning process, so do a lot of these endocrine disruptors. So that's why it's important to have filtered water, or some kind of system on your house or water if you can, or some kind of system to filter your water. Another thing that we deal with all the time is canned food, and you will see more and more that cans will say BPA free. I wanted to tell you about BPA. It is used to make plastics hard. It's the resiliency of the plastic, but what they have found is that the BPA can leach into, like if you have something that's been sitting in a can a long time, the BPA can leach into that food and then you consume it. Or if you store things, especially acidic things, in plastic containers, that they can leach into those as well. And you never, ever, ever want to put a plastic bowl or anything plastic in the microwave and heat something up in it, because it is definitely going to leach into your food with that. And I see that happening all the time. And I've even told people, oh, don't, get you a glass bowl. Oh, I don't care about that. It's not going to hurt me. But they have, probably any of us could get our blood drawn and have it checked for BPA, and we're going to have BPA in it. Because if you drink out of a water bottle, like you buy the water bottles, those have been shipped all across the country in the back of a semi. They sit outside. I've seen them outside in front of like gas stations and stuff. But when they heat up and they sit in the sun or they get heated, then the BPA is going to leach into that. And so, and then one thing back on the cans, you'll see a lot of canned foods say BPA free lining. Then that's great, that's better, but even though they took out the BPA, they use another chemical. They have to use something. So the best case scenario in buying food, if you can, is to buy it frozen. It's better than getting it in the cans. So, and then again, endocrine disruptors are also in pesticides and herbicides, so you want to get organic when you can. Definitely non-GMO. And even organic foods you buy, they're probably going to have a trace amount of that because of the overspray, the runoff, all those different things. But it's still better to have less than all of it. And then kitchen products, again, that's even the stuff you cook in. You want to get stainless steel. If possible, you want to avoid like Teflon because there's a leaching problem with that. You want to get stainless steel, and did you know that stainless steel comes in grades? So the best grade would be 18-0, but that's really hard to find. I've never seen it in a store because I've checked, but then you get 1810, 1820, so you want to get the lowest number possible on that to have the most pure stainless steel. And then another great thing is I love cast iron, and I try, and I never use aluminum because aluminum is another one of those things, and I don't think I have it on here, but we'll talk about it. that affects your brain. And they've connected the use of aluminum, like the aluminum in antiperspirants. If you have I'm going back up to personal care, but it just came to mind. If you wear antiperspirant, those will contain aluminum in them, and aluminum crosses the blood-brain barrier. So you want to avoid antiperspirants. That's used to keep you from sweating. But we want to sweat, so you want to use just deodorant. And then I would still recommend getting a natural deodorant. That's very, very important. Okay, let's see. What else do I want to talk about? Okay, we talked about cleaning products. On here it says nonylphenol ethoxylates, NPEs. Okay, so those are just some other chemicals that you'll find in detergents and things. And so you need to, so the bottom line is, what I'm trying to say is there are tons of chemicals that we need to think about, and the best way to protect yourself is to learn what they are. And as Angel will say at the end, if you want like a list, if you want me to provide you with some information, then I'll be more than happy to do that. And I would just pick out maybe some of the very worst, the most dangerous ones, so that when you go to the store, and I don't know, when I go to the store, I'm picking up everything and I'm reading the labels. I'm carrying my little glasses because the labels are so small. If you don't, you won't read them because you can't see it. And there's certain things that I will not use. You know, I just refuse to use. And, you know, okay, I can't get that. I can't get that. And it is irritating, and it's a little bit harder to shop. But yet, if 75% of, if we can change that for the better, you know, 75%, then we have to take the action to avoid using them. So we have to learn what they are. So let me go on. I feel like I'm talking too much. Okay, so just some things that can happen by being overloaded, because when we just flood ourselves with those things every day, we overload our bodies. We overload ourselves with free radicals, and it's very, very stressful to our body. This is where the stress comes in. So being exposed to those things can lead to reproductive issues, gynecological issues, infertility, early puberty, autoimmune conditions, and those are on the rise. Infections, cardiopulmonary, like asthma and blood pressure, and then the brain. And we know Alzheimer's is on the rise, Parkinson's is on the rise, and if you've been in any schools, ADHD is everywhere. So there's a reason that these things are happening. And then I'll just go on to, well, I'm going to come back to that. So think about the kids starting, you know, when they're very young, and I know a lot of teachers, and a lot of them are saying, you know, that just the kids are off the chain. It's really, you know, it's really getting difficult. And I've been, you know, I was a teacher, so I've seen a lot of that. But they have studied umbilical cord blood, and they have found that on the day a baby is born, they can have up to 287 chemicals in their cord blood, which means everything, and we already know everything a mother eats, everything a mother puts on her body, the baby is exposed to as well. So we are birthing children that already are dealing with, you know, some endocrine disruptors and, you know, stressful chemicals in their body, and that can play out as they grow up. So I think it's super important for young mothers, or any mother of any age, to learn about these things, to know what to avoid. And the thing is, people just don't know. You know, they just don't know. You know, a lot of people still believe if it's in the store, it's got to be safe, right? Because they wouldn't let you sell it if it wasn't. But that's not true. So it's all about education. So let me see if these were some others that I wanted to talk about. We talked about fragrance. Did we talk about parabens? I can't remember, but they're usually used as preservatives. And again, they mimic estrogen, and they're associated with breast cancer and skin rashes. I might have talked about that. The PEGs, so that's polyethylene glycols, and they're in petroleum products. And so you really want to avoid anything with petroleum, okay? And that's just exactly what it says. And they have been proven to contain carcinogenic contamination of 1,4-dioxane, which affects your liver and kidneys. And remember, those are our detox organs, that try to protect us from everything. And if we're overloading them every day, that leads to issues there. Flame retardants, we want to avoid those. A lot of times pajamas come, like for kids, come with flame retardants. You absolutely do not want to do that, because clothes, there's also, when you buy clothes, always wash them, because there's chemicals in those clothes, in the production of those clothes. So that's very important too. But you don't ever want to use flame retardants or anything like that with children or in your home, because they are full of endocrine disruptors. We talked about nanoparticles and aluminum. So aluminum, we talked about it being in antiperspirants. And aluminum is bioaccumulative. It's a bioaccumulative neurotoxin that is stored in your fat cells and your nerve tissue, and it can destroy your nerve tissues. It can also, go to your brain. So that's definitely something you want to avoid for sure. And I still see a lot of people using that. And then talc, that's something you don't see a lot anymore, but it is part of the asbestos family. And back in the day, there was always talcum powder. I don't know if you guys remember, but my grandma used it like crazy. But it's linked to ovarian cancer as well, and it's very dangerous for your lungs if you inhale it. So let's see. So if we want to avoid some of those things, number one, we're talking about food, buy organic, read your labels. And then when it comes to the grill, nobody's going to like this, but when you char that meat, which is, I know how people love it, that's actually carcinogenic, and that's something that you want to try to avoid happening as much as possible. But avoid plastic, use glass if you can, or use stainless steel. But like all my bowls for like storing my food, all glass. I use glass cups and all of that. Don't heat plastic in the microwave, because it will leach that BPA and other chemicals. There's other chemicals in there too that will leach into your food. Cloth, those plastic vinyl shower curtains that you might have, those also have BPA and other chemicals, so it's best to use the cloth. And they have the kind that are water repellent, and that's what I have. They work just fine. So you don't have to have the plastic in there. If you use pesticides, there are some organic things you can use, like boric acid, and actually even white vinegar can be mixed up to be a good, well, that would be a good herbicide, and there's others. I can't tell you all of them right now, but boric acid is one of them. And I have something there, I can't remember what it is. But anyway, and then natural cleaners. So more and more companies, what's good is this is catching on, and there are more and more natural things to choose from. But even with those, read your labels, because the problem is, and this is kind of going off a little bit, but the word natural is really irrelevant. So anybody can put a picture of a flower and say natural and get away with it. So you still have to know what you're looking at, because just because it says natural does not mean that it is, that there's not something in there that you want to avoid. So I will be happy to share some of these things with you. And then with makeup, Angel, you and I were talking about that. It's so hard sometimes to find that natural stuff that you love. So, but it's something you're using on a daily basis. You want to try to use it, organic if you can, but makeup that avoids some of these really nasty endocrine disruptors. And then if you have your favorite kind that you want to use on a special occasion or whatever, but just it's not something you want to do day in, day out, and exposing yourself to. And again, the natural detergents, we talked about that. And finally, read labels, and that's where you have to just know what to look for. So let me get out of this for a second and stop the share. Okay, did I talk too fast? Did that make sense?
It was awesome.
Okay, good. There's just, there's so much to say, and hard to get it all in. But if, I can make a list of some of the ones that, that I look for specifically, because you're not going to avoid everything. It's impossible. But the ones that I like, it's a no on my list. It's just a no. I'll share those if anybody wants to know. And I'm going to mute out so you can talk, because I know my speaker is horrible and makes that nasty sound.
Oh, that was great. That was so much good information. And I know you have more to share, and we'll put that in our Filled with Good group. So I'll put the recording to this in our private customer group. And then maybe in the comments, you could put any extra links or anything, and then we can direct people to that. But thanks, Jeannie, for hopping on. I know you're Barb's friend. So glad you're here. Yeah, so I just want to add, Barbara and Lydia and I met through our Juice Plus company. And I don't know if Jeannie knows about Juice Plus, but that is something we do every day to detox our body. It helps eat away free radicals. I always say, and maybe it's because I'm from the 80s and we played Pac-Man all the time. Do y'all remember Pac-Man? Okay. I always, when I take my Juice Plus, I think of having a Pac-Man inside my body, eating away the free radicals, and eating away those things that cause sickness and disease. And so what we do is take our Juice Plus, and for anybody who might be watching online that doesn't know about it, this is the 4 blends that we take, and this is going to help your body detox on a daily level. The fruits, the vegetables, the berries, the vegan omegas. And then we have protein powders. I just finished my shake while you were teaching, but this is the one I drank today. It's called Perform, yes. And it's just a simple way to get more plant foods in your body, because that's what's going to help you detox. And then we also have our yummy chocolate complete. I love this. I make the pudding with this. It's become like a little ritual almost every day. I love it. You just mix it with a little almond milk. It is so delicious. And then we have it in vanilla as well. If you want a tropical smoothie, I love it. So we have a shred group where we do all of this every single day, and then we help you get more plants in your body and cut out things that cause inflammation, like caffeine, alcohol, gluten, dairy, things that are not good for you. And then we're so fortunate to have teachers like Barb, friends that do the same thing, sideline buddies like Lydia, and we just encourage each other. So Jeannie, I don't know if you know about that, but make sure to get with Barb. Good. Get with Barb, and you're so fortunate to have her in your life with all of that wisdom. So anybody who's watching this in the replay or on YouTube or Facebook, if you want to learn more, just reach out to the person who shared it with you. And we are always here to help. So thank you again, Barb. That was amazing. Loved it. Loved every bit of it. And thank you guys for being on. So we'll be back next week to dive more into this. We're going to dive more into healthy hormones, all the wonderful things we need to do to stay healthy. All right, guys. Bye.